different university. I have Dr. Teresa Shafer with me. And the reason I like to interview her because she's so many multicultural experience. Would you please introduce yourself first?
Well, I'm glad to be here. We've been talking about doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
One of the responsibilities I have here, in addition to being a faculty member, is being in charge of our international campuses. And so I've managed a number of them in a lot of different countries, as well as working with our international students that are here. Mm-hmm. So I love to travel. I love to have the experience. I think anytime you're with another person from a different culture, you learn. You know, ni hao. Yeah. That's how I remembered. Yeah. You taught us that. Yeah. And TU's been really good to try to mix those cultures together. Mm-hmm. And so I've always really enjoyed it. My background is a social psychologist. And so I've always been involved in culture and cultural explanations of things. So that's the interest that I have. Yeah. And you and I have talked for years about this.
So when you say I always, do you remember when the first time you do the traveling?
Well, I was a junior in high school, and I signed up to be a foreign exchange student to live for a year abroad.
Wow!
And
where?
It was in Bolivia.
Wow!
And it never happened. It never came to fruition. I went through all the paperwork, and suddenly they had kind of a civil war outbreak, and so I didn't get to go. And so ever since then, I was like, I'm going somewhere. Okay. And so that's kind of when it started.
Wow.
And then it continued through undergraduate work. And then, you know, I luckily I was in graduate programs with a lot of diverse students. So I really got to know people from lots of different countries.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't really till I got here. And we've had our campus in Bucharest, Romania for over 25 years that I got really involved and said, please, I want to go.
Yeah.
And I just got experience with
it.
So
is that the first time you are really out of the country?
In any big way, yes. I mean, I've been to other countries, Canada and South America, or Mexico and areas. And, you know, we had gone to Great Britain, or I had gone to France, but I really hadn't gone and spent much time. I mean, you spend a week.
Yeah.
Where with Romania, you're there for 3 or 4 weeks. And so you get to know things better. And
you
then
feel like you are living in the local.
Yeah.
Wow.
And when we had our campus in Taiwan, it was, you know, 4 weeks, so you really got to know the locals.
Yeah.
And the same thing with our other campuses. So that opportunity to really be involved in the international campuses more was really what just fed my heart to enjoy it and love it.
I remember last time I invited you to my class, you talk about your experience in Taiwan.
Yes.
Can you share a little bit more?
I love Taiwan. It was great. We had great class, great partners. As students, I still stay in touch. In fact, I was just talking to one of my students this morning. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's the only city I've gone into and actually got lost.
Yeah.
Because it looks so much alike.
Yeah.
You know, there's a Rolex on every corner. There's a 7-Eleven on every corner.
Yeah.
And I left the hotel and I was walking in a square. I said, I know if I walk just in a square, always left turns, I'll get home.
Yeah.
Somehow they just all of a sudden looked the same and I got lost, or I thought I did.
Yeah.
And I remember flagging down a taxi and saying, I always kept the card of the hotel. And I said, okay, can I take me back here? And he looked at me like, you silly woman, it's right there. But the outside didn't look the same from that direction.
Oh.
I felt so stupid. And I thought, it's a very claustrophobic city because it's so tight and it's so bright, lights everywhere.
Yeah.
That it was just the most unusual city I've ever been in. It's different. You know, we're mostly in European or East European cities.
Yeah.
And so, love the people. They were wonderful. I love the food.
Yeah.
That was very good.
Yeah.
And so I enjoyed it. I just decided after that time, I'm taking a taxi or a driver everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not walking.
Yeah. And I remember you tell me about the strange mushroom.
Oh my gosh, yeah. The first time I was there, we went on a tour out to the ocean side to see some of the special temples and some of the other rock formations.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know anything. I don't speak the language, and they let us off to go into the bathrooms.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't pay attention to the doors of the bathroom because some of the doors had like these little monograms, pictures on them. Well, I didn't know. And so I opened a door and I went in and they had a very typical Asian bathroom, which is just kind of like a pit in the floor that you kind of squat over.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the balance to be able to do that. And I'm like, oh, this is not going to work. And I thought, well, I'm just, going to hold it till we get back to someplace I can understand it.
Yeah.
Well, when I walked out, they obviously saw that I was in distress.
Yeah.
And so she taught me, look at the door. There's a traditional bathroom or not.
Yeah.
So that was a very interesting sight that you just, every place you go, there's something like that you have to get used to.
Yeah.
And so that was one that was like very different for me.
Yeah. But you never see that before.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, my family is from the South, and so we had outhouses.
Yeah.
So I was used to that structure.
Yeah.
Just didn't see that in what was a public bathroom.
Yeah.
And so the European bathrooms or the Asian bathrooms, I had not seen that.
Yeah, we consider that's more, more clean because you don't have to touch.
You're not touching anything. That's true. But you have to be really
good skill, good
knees and good balance, and I couldn't figure that out. I'd need more practice.
Yeah. just用中文讲一下，他说他最不习惯那个蹲厕啦。我们那个蹲厕他不晓得怎么 handle. And also, you also say every time, every city you are going to McDonald's.
I always do.
Yeah. So give us some. How do you see the difference in different city, the fast food?
I still do it to this day. If I'm in a new state, sometimes in the U.S. will be a little bit different, but definitely in a country, I will go to see if they have the same things we're used to, the Big Mac and the fries, and they always have that.
Yeah.
But they have something typical that's local.
Yeah.
So in Taiwan, they had chicken legs.
Chicken
and rice.
Okay.
And I'm
rice.
like, we don't have that.
Yeah.
You know? And in other countries, when I was in Germany, they had the big steins of beer you could get and sauerkraut. I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
France, they have wine. You can get a glass of wine along with it. And so it just, and also in France, they don't give you the sandwich in a wrapper. They give it to you on a platter with a fork and a knife so that because they don't touch their food like that. Like we would eat a sandwich.
Yeah.
So, and in Romania, I go to theirs and they have a special sausage called mici, and it's at McDonald's.
Oh.
And so every country I tend to go to has, if there's a McDonald's, I go in just to see what's the same. Wow. So that I have the comfort food of knowing, okay, that's like what I'm used to. Yeah. But what's unusual? Wow. And they always have something.
Always something. So you are expert.
I'm an expert on McDonald's.
Although, you tell them? You should tell them their headquarters.
No, it is. I probably should because I would be a good spokesman because I like that they keep it, that consistency of being the McDonald's brand. Yeah. But they also localize it. Yeah. So that the person that maybe doesn't like our hamburgers or fries can still get something they're used to, the rice and the chicken legs or something.
Looks like they show the good role model for the business field to be more cultural competence.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I typically don't go to a Starbucks because they're everywhere, and I typically don't go to a KFC because they're everywhere. Yeah. Or Burger King or 7-Elevens or whatever. Yeah. Although I have been to a couple of 7-Elevens that are very different than what we have here.
Did you see the 7-Eleven in Taiwan?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a full restaurant.
Yeah. Everything.
There was one across the street from my hotel, and so I went there every day because they have these hot plates and things that we don't have back here. Yeah. Which was very cool. I like that a lot. Yeah. Similar to that is when I was in Ireland, their rest stops have almost full kitchens. Their gas stations have full kitchens type with them. So you're going to go have lunch, you get gas and you eat right there, which is not what we're kind of used to here. Yeah. But I like how different countries take care of their people differently, whether it's food or whether it's other things. But McDonald's is a great ambassador, I think, and they're everywhere, of course. So
how you see yourself when you are fly out the country and in different place? Did you see yourself, or you find yourself become their people or their people?
Well, I guess if I could speak languages other than English, I'd probably feel more like them. Okay. Because I still fly as what I believe is an ambassador of the university as well as my country. Yeah. And so I try to be a good American when I travel, not a bad American like we know happens. Yeah. But I've been to Romania so much. Yeah. I mean, I've so many times for so long that I do feel like I'm a part of them when I'm there. Okay. Because now I bring back some of their foods and I make them in my own home and things where I've never had that long of, or that, length of time in another country to really get into really understanding everything, their music, their culture, and their architecture, and all those things. So I don't tend to bring that back. But because I've been in Romania so many times, and
how many do you?
I've probably been there 60 times. I mean, I go now twice a year.
Okay.
And I've been doing twice a year for a lot of years.
Like 3 weeks?
3 weeks each time I go.
Wow, that's
So at least 3 weeks.
Enough time to get to know the local area.
Well, and we have so many alumni and friends now that they, if I have a few days off, they'll take me and say, let's go to the country. Or I had one student that said, I'm going to take you for the week. And I'm like, really? Where? And he said, you need to see the rest of our country because it's beautiful. And it is.
Are they the whole country speak English?
No. They don't. They speak some English. They can understand a little bit. The younger the population is, the better, of course. But you can manage. You do just like I do with everybody, point and click and type of thing. But they're very welcoming. And so I've been in every major city and all over just as a tourist, as well as the person that now feels like it's my second home because I've been there so much.
So beside the loss in Taiwan and then the restroom, any other struggle you have been to travel another country?
A few times.
Yeah.
Again, it's Romania because I watch people, they have street vendors, and I watch what they're buying, and I'm like, I could buy myself, I could order that. That just looks like a little cheese pastry. I could get that, right? I'm looking, and so I ordered the same thing I saw people eating. And I take this big bite out of it. Well, it's a fish pastry.
Okay.
It's fish and oil, and I'm like, oh, that's not going to work. So I'm like, okay. So now I'm getting better at learning how their language enough to read it. The other time when we were in Prague at our campus, I took a little tour outside the city, and the person I was with wasn't one of our partners. It was just a tour guide. And we went all over, and we came back, and we're going to have lunch. And we went into this place that had a pig sign. I'm like, oh, pork. I love pork. Easy. We went in, and I thought, again, smarty pants, I could order myself, right? So I said, oh, I want this and this. And he said, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I think I'm sure. So we got it. There, they pretty much deep fry everything. And you get a beer. And so, I'm eating, and of course I can't eat it all. And I'm drinking the beer, and he says, do you feel smarter? And I'm like, smarter? What do you mean? He goes, well, you just ate pig brains. And I'm like, okay. I'm glad you didn't tell me that beforehand because I would not have ordered it.
Well, in my country, we also consider bread make you smarter.
I know. Well, when I was in Taiwan, I got the other thing. I think I've told you this. I was at an event, and again, they're so sweet, they're so kind. They took me out to dinner, and my guide that was with me said, you need to eat a little bit of everything, right? To just be polite. So they would bring this course, and I'd eat a little bit, and this course, and this course, and I just kept eating, and I finally said, I'm so full, I can't do this.
What do I eat?
And they said, oh, good, because they thought you didn't like anything, and they just kept making stuff in the kitchen. And so I said, no, I like that, give that back to me. So you get into situations, especially with food as Americans, where you're just not sure. And that's where you have to swallow some pride and say, I don't know what I'm doing, you know, and can you order this? Or some places, they serve seafood that I'm not used to, or other kinds of animals that we don't have here as, part of our palate. And so I'm like, I'm always willing to try everything once. I don't want those. I had lamb eyeballs once. And I'm like, okay.
Brain once.
And brain once. I'm not doing that again. But you have to be polite and respectful of their culture. And they think they're giving you the gift. Because you're the special one at the table, so you get the eyeballs. And I'm like, I don't really need those. But that's the way it happens. And you have to be polite. If they visit your country, you would want to do the same thing. So you just have to be respectful.
So how you see yourself made different if you don't have this experience? What it looks like?
Well, gosh, I certainly wouldn't be as rich in my experiences and my history. If I were just localized to Ohio or just the United States, and again, I've seen more countries than I have states. I'm trying to get that done. You just wouldn't be as well read. You know, you wouldn't be as flexible with attitudes and artwork and music and food. I mean, that flexibility would be gone.
Yeah.
My palate would be pretty stale.
Yeah.
You know, because you're used to the same things.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be as tolerant for people who are different or look different. Where now I'm like, that's normal to me now.
Yeah.
I probably would be maybe a little more shy or reserved.
Yeah.
Because when you're in another country, you have to, you almost have to perform. In the roles that I've had, you have to be the one that speaks. You have to be the one that gets up there with everybody and works with everybody.
Wow.
So I probably would be a little bit more reserved.
Yeah. So you're pretty much the product of multicultural experience.
I am. Because I've had it for so long.
Yeah.
You know, I've been at Tiffin 30 years or so.
Yeah.
And 25 of that has been involved with international campuses.
Because you take advantage for that opportunity.
Oh, heck yeah.
Right.
And again, it's tough because when I started doing this, my kids were very small.
Yeah.
And so you're leaving for 3 weeks. It's like, how do you leave a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old?
Yeah.
You know?
So how do you overcome the obstacle?
Yeah. Well, I did it because I had a great husband.
Yeah.
Still do.
He said, yes, go.
He did. He knew it was something I really wanted to try.
Yeah.
And I had great in-laws that helped and friends that helped and still
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And so you can't do it otherwise
Yeah.
if you don't have a support system back
Yeah.
here. When I first went, there was no concept of Zoom or really, we had internet, but it wasn't that good. So I had kind of one call a week to call home.
Yeah.
Now I FaceTime the kids all every time. So I feel much more connected than I ever used to be. But when they were little guys, my husband was getting them to school and you know, getting their baths and things like that because I wasn't there.
Wow.
So that was a huge gift.
Yeah.
And again, when you're gone that long,
Yeah.
you know, 3 or 4 weeks is tough.
Yeah.
And I was just really blessed,
Yeah.
you know, because he wanted me to do what I needed to do. And I was really blessed to he allowed that.
So for people out there listen to this video, if they really want to have this kind of experience and they are struggle how to start it, do you want to give them some suggestion? How do they make the first move?
Make the first step.
Yeah.
It's easier now, I think, because we are much more of a global community.
Yeah.
Lots of multinational companies.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities to explore and to teach and to do things.
Yeah.
And if you've not traveled much, the first thing you need to do is travel. Get on some tour.
Yeah.
Don't do it by yourself, but join a tour to wherever. And you might want to get comfortable to join a tour in your own language. So go to, you know, if you don't speak French, don't go to France. But if you speak English, then maybe you need to go to Ireland and England, you know, because then you'll feel more comfortable and you won't have the culture shock so bad.
Yeah.
But get yourself out and get going. And
go
then
to the country with use a language
that you're comfortable with,
okay.
because it's probably going to be also a little bit more comfortable food-wise.
Okay.
It's not going to be as big a shock. And so you get past that, then, oh, well, let's try the next thing.
Okay.
And English is spoken everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
You know, so we're lucky, and also I feel like I've been cheated because I haven't been forced to learn a language.
Yeah.
But I do think that learning the language, or at least reading the history of the country, is really helpful. So, but there's so many more opportunities. Lots of companies are wanting folks that have traveled. I always put on a CV for the students that I work with. I say, where have you been? What have you done? Where have you traveled?
Okay.
Because they need to know that you've been, even if you've just been there for a week's vacation or a long weekend, or you worked with, you know, kids from another country at a sports camp or something. Put it on your CV. People need to know that.
Wow.
So you just get started.
Yeah.
And part of that is just travel once, you know, and get the bug, which is what you get.
Yeah.
And then just kind of keep building that in your career. And if you're already working in your company, there's hardly a company I know that's not multinational or global in some way.
Yeah.
So ask for what you can do, and you're taking classes in this, or pick up, you know, something that helps you be more valuable.
Yeah.
And so
See,
I think that's easy.
I'm lucky because Teresa Shafer is so friendly, you know, so we can talk, you know, just kind of like, okay, you are from outside. That maybe because that become part of you.
Well,
right?
you help so much when we got the Taiwan program going, and I'm always looking for people who are different. So I want to get to know people who are from other places.
Wow.
And so, and TU's done a good job when we had a Chinese month, or I'm not sure what it was called, and we took classes with you, and we looked at food with you, and you know, so TU's been really good to try to help everybody to say, well, this is the country of India, this is their food, this is their religion, this is their music, and you get a little bit of an introduction, and then you get hungry for more.
Yeah. So if this is your book, Okay.
Oh, gosh.
Your life as a multiculturalism. Okay. What's the title for this book? For your life?
Willing adventurer, I guess.
Ooh,
Because
adventure.
I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
I'll pack my bag and go.
Wow.
I'll go anywhere once.
Wow. How can you so brave?
People have asked me if I'm brave, and I
Yeah.
don't know if it's courage and bravery or naivety.
Huh.
Because I go to countries and I don't think I'm going to get hurt. I go to countries and don't think there's going to be an outbreak or
Okay.
a protest. I don't think that way. I always
Okay.
think I'm going to learn stuff and have these exciting adventures.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. So my mom will call me. She goes, "Are you sure you want to go to
Yeah.
Romania? There's the Ukraine war. Isn't that
Yeah.
close?" So,
Yeah.
or again, the Israeli war that just broke out.
Yeah.
No, I don't think of that.
Nothing to do with me. I'm
Yeah,
going traveling. I'm
so-
going to learn something new.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's just being too naive
Yeah.
and trusting, or I just don't have the fear for
That's
it.
good.
You know, and that's
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
because if you were fearful, then you
Yeah.
just couldn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need,
Yeah.
like I said, I don't know that it's bravery. I think it's more curiosity.
Yeah,
You want to do it.
I think that's the key, right?
Yeah.
Curiosity to see what's stuff out there.
Yeah. I've taken students, we've been to Russia, we've been to
Yeah.
Italy and Greece. And I mean, I want them in Costa Rica. I mean, I want them to all go.
Yeah.
So take a student trip. I mean, that's a huge way to do it.
Wow.
And so I haven't met too many people that once they've done that,
Yeah. Yeah.
they'll do it again and again and
Yeah.
again,
Wow.
and then they expose their kids to it.
Wow.
Because one of the things that I did for the longest time is when my kids were little, I would buy a book in English
Yeah.
and in their language.
Oh, really?
And I'd bring the two books back. So,
Oh.
Little Red Riding Hood. Well,
Yeah.
here's the English version. Well, here's the Romanian version or the
Wow.
Italian version. So
Wow.
while I never could learn a language, I just don't have the ear for it. They could kind of see and go along with it. So they saw it was different,
Wow.
and I always thought that helped my kids have an attitude of,
Yeah.
we want to travel and do things, and the world's pretty big out there.
I know.
You need to dream big.
I know.
Yeah.
Wow. See, we have a Dr. Shafer in here, by her eyes see the whole world.
That's a good way to put it. I just don't see Tiffin in Tiffin University. I see where could that global footprint be?
Where can I fly out?
Yep, absolutely.
So what's your next trip?
Well, I've got some personal trips coming up, but my next one for the university is in March. I go every October in March to Romania.
Okay,
and
so
then
you'll go back to...
I'll go back to Romania, and then I'll go to our Swiss campus also in March. And then, I've got, my kids are pretty spread out. They've been dreaming
Yeah.
big, so I'll get out to see
Every
where
time I
they're at.
see her Facebook, she already in the airport.
I pretty much am. I do fly a lot, and I used to fly about every other month. It seemed like when we were really building up, and when Taiwan and Prague and Warsaw was all busy.
By the way, some
busy.
people have the jet lag issue. Do you ever or you never?
It's gotten worse as I get older.
Okay.
And so yes,
how
I
do you
absolutely
overcome?
have it.
Yeah.
I have always practiced, I don't know who gave me this advice, maybe you did, I can't remember, is to always stay up until at least 9 o'clock in the evening of the country you're in. And so the minute you get there, you're tired because you've been traveling for 15 or 20 hours. And you want to go to sleep. Don't go to sleep. Just get out in the sun, get the vitamin D, walk around, eat if you can. Don't take a nap.
Okay.
And I'm usually dragging my self around at 7:30 or 8, but I try to stay up till 9.
Okay.
And then that gets you a little bit closer to their sleep cycle.
Okay. So
Because
stay until like 9 p.m.
9
Their
p.m.
time.
And then I do the same thing when I come home.
Okay.
Because, depending on where I'm going, I'm leaving at night, getting there in the day if I go to Europe, but coming back, it's all in one day.
Okay.
So I'll get back here and I'm like, okay, it's 5 o'clock and I need to go to bed. And I'm like, nope, 9 o'clock, 9
Stay
p.m.
until 9 p.m.
That helps me. And again, as much vitamin D as you can get.
Yeah, okay.
And then, just keep moving.
And what did you do inside the airplane? What do you do?
I watch a lot of movies.
Okay.
I'm terrible because I can't sleep.
Okay.
So I get up and I walk around a lot.
Okay.
I read.
Yeah.
I always tell myself I'm going to work.
Yeah.
I never work.
You never work, so you watch movies. So
I watch movies.
but
Keep
that-
busy.
That not bother you. Because
No.
some people don't want to spend their time in the inside the airplane.
Oh,
That not bother you.
most of my flights are 9 or 10 hours in each leg.
Yeah.
And so you got to do something.
Yeah.
And so, I will always try to sleep a little bit,
Yeah.
but that never typically
Yeah.
happens for me.
Yeah.
And so, but I don't eat a lot. I try
Oh.
not to eat a lot. I drink a lot of water, but I try not to
What,
eat a
the
lot.
food they give to you, you don't
Yeah.
finish it?
I typically don't eat much of it.
Really?
mostly I don't like it, or
okay.
I'll eat the fruit or something, but
Okay.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to
Okay.
overeat.
Okay.
But I really catch up on all the movies that I don't get
I
to
know.
watch most of the time. And it
And
makes
it's
your
free.
time go. They're
Yeah.
free and your time passes really quickly.
Okay.
And so, I can
Okay.
do this. I listen to music. I always have my headphones on. Because to me, that drowns out everything else, and you can just kind of
That's
concentrate.
your time for
It is.
yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so when I'm reading books, I have books on my Kindle, so I'm always reading,
Wow.
just fun stuff.
So see,
You can
when
do
you
that.
hear it, don't you think travel is so fun?
Travel's hard.
Yeah.
It is
it's
hard. It
but-
is hard on the body.
Yeah.
It's hard on the mind.
Yeah.
It's hard on the family, the support system,
Yeah.
but you get so much out of it.
Okay.
And I've done it for so long now that I have my suitcase and it
Yeah.
kind of knows where
Yeah.
it's going.
Oh.
And it know the shoes know they're
Yeah.
going in there. And I have my duplicate bags
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
all of the toiletries that you need, and the
Yeah.
makeup I have just doubles.
So very quick.
Yeah, it doesn't take me long, and I
Okay.
buy things that, to travel with that don't wrinkle, so I can pull out, the dress or the shirt, and I don't have to worry about it. So
Wow.
it's just easier if you think that, it's going to be a good experience. And also, Americans overpack. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we're terrible.
Yeah.
And so we take this huge big suitcase
Yeah.
when really we could get by with a little backpack.
Okay.
And so I've
That's
learned,
enough. Okay.
I've learned that
Yeah.
you don't need as much stuff as you think you need.
Even you have to stay in Romania for what? 3
I
weeks?
stay 3 weeks, and I have still a small bag and a
Really?
backpack. There's laundromats everywhere.
Okay.
We can wear our outfits. Americans are bad to say, I've worn it
Yeah.
once, I can't wear it again.
Yeah.
You can wear it again, and so, and that's a big part of it is,
Okay.
if you need to launder, the hotels always have that service, or you can find a local laundromat.
Okay.
But I pretty much take the same 3 pairs of black pants and 4 or 5 tops that'll go with them, and you can make it. You don't need it any more than that.
Wow.
And there's always, at least I say, I got a credit card and there's a store.
Yeah.
So if I don't have it, I can buy it.
Buy it.
And you can.
Wow.
You don't have to take it all with you.
Wow. This is travel 101.
Well,
Right?
I've seen way too many Americans trying to lug these big bags in and out of, European hotels that are tiny, and they don't all have elevators, or you're trying to get in and out of buses with them, and it's too much.
Wow.
So
that's something
you gotta
to
learn.
That's why you make a travel, I don't want to say easier, but then kind of like not too hard. So because your suitcase is small,
Yeah.
and then your mind is so curious, and then your heart is ready. So
Yeah, you have fun, and I mean, you have to be aware of your surroundings, of course,
Yeah.
because there's dangers everywhere,
Yeah.
and you just can't be dumb about it.
yeah,
But if you're smart,
Yeah.
common sense smart,
yeah.
you can have a great time.
Wow.
You don't want to have a bad time, because then that spoils everything
Yeah.
for you, and you're afraid to go the next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But I've been really, really lucky.
And you pretty much go alone? Very
I do now, for the
Yeah.
most part.
Yeah.
My husband just retired, so he'll start going
Yeah.
at least once a year
Yeah.
with me to Romania.
Yeah.
But I've always been really lucky that I've been met at the airport with my on-campus partner,
Okay.
team.
Okay.
And so they usually get me to the hotel, and then I
Okay.
know where to walk to get to
Yeah.
the campus
Yeah.
and out to
Okay.
dinner and stuff. So I'm not usually left alone too much.
Okay.
I have some of my own time. And now that I always stay at the same hotels, at the
Yeah.
same neighborhoods, I
Yeah.
know where everything's at. There's a restaurant
Yeah.
in Romania that we went to, and it's the same lady that's
Okay.
waited on us
Oh,
for
really?
15 years. And so
Oh.
she goes, "Hey, you're back!"
And
And
so
so-
next time you come
Yeah,
back?
and so we told her, "Hey, we'll see you in March."
Okay.
So we always go to her restaurant at least twice while we're there, just because it's good to see her. And we, as Americans, we go different places all the time.
Yeah.
We rarely go back to the same one,
Yeah.
so that you rarely get to know the
Yeah.
community that
Yeah.
well. And so this has been nice for me
Wow,
to
it's
have
very
that
nice.
repetitive.
You have home.
I do.
Away from home.
Yeah, it's my second place.
Wow. I'm so envy you now.
Well, you travel a lot too.
Yeah.
And you're lucky that you've been,
Living in other countries.
continent. Yeah, you've lived a long time in other countries. And
Yeah.
so most Americans, they've spent a week somewhere maybe,
Yeah.
but they haven't really spent enough time to get out of the vacation mode.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
Wow. So if you want to know more about traveling, then Dr. Shafer is the to-go person.
Be glad to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing.
Always.
And hope.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.